Welcome to the Betting Pros PGA Podcast. I'm Pat Fitzmaurice, joined as always by Bo McBrayer. The first tournament of 2025 is the Sentry, an exclusive event with a smaller field played at the Plantation Course at Kapalua. And we are going to preview the Sentry from a betting perspective. We'll tell you who we have on our betting cards, and we will give you our one and done picks at the end of the show. Bo, we have not done a golf show together since the Tour Championship, which was shortly before the start of the NFL season. I know both of us have been very busy with fantasy football for the last 4 months, but the fantasy season is now over, and we are diving headfirst back into golf. Got off to kind of a slow start last year on this show. Some out of left field winners in January thwarted our wagers a little bit, but then started getting hot in February. Wound up having a pretty good year, I would say. What do you say we get off to a better start in 2025 and just get this thing rolling in Hawaii?
Yeah, I mean, as well as we finished up, I had almost forgotten the 5 straight long shot winners we had in January of 2024. So yeah, I think that outliers all being considered, I think we're going to nail some more long shots this year. And obviously, if Scotty goes on another run once his hand heals up, then I guess we can bet on him if the odds are right.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about Scotty in this one. More on that in just a minute. So as mentioned earlier, the Sentry does have a smaller field. This tournament used to be open only to tournament winners from the previous calendar year. Now it's open to winners from the previous calendar year and anyone who finished inside the top 50 of the FedEx Cup standings. This is a no-cut event. Everyone's going to be around for all 4 rounds. And the season starts with a birdie fest, Bo. The Plantation Course at Kapalua Resort is a par 73 that plays to 7,596 yards. Yes, a par 73. There are only 3 par 3s on this course. The fairways at the Plantation Course, very wide and spacious, perfect for a player like me. The greens are big and slow. So
Perfect for a player like me.
Yeah, you are going to see players putt aggressively here. These are not exactly lightning fast greens. Players are going to hit a ton of greens in this tournament. So scrambling is not that big a factor. It's all about hitting it close and making putts, really. So occasionally we will see some heavy winds at Kapalua that can drive up scores. But otherwise, the biggest challenge comes from the elevation changes you get on some of the holes, and they can be pretty extreme. Bo, for example, the 18th hole, perfect example, 677-yard par 5. But despite the fact that it measures just under 700 yards, it's reachable in 2 for these guys because it is a monstrous drop from tee to green. I don't know about you, Bo, but I love watching these players hit those big sweeping draws into the green on number 18 because there's trouble on the left, no trouble at all on the right. So basically everyone is laying it out way right and trying to play a draw into this green. You'll see a lot of people miss right. So forecast for this week, though, there should not be a lot of wind. They are expecting gorgeous weather at Kapalua for this. Temperatures in the low 80s, sunny to partly sunny all week long with winds in the 5 to 15 mile an hour range. It's not going to suck. Yeah, it's not going to suck in Kapalua, Bo, especially for someone like me who's stuck in the upper Midwest. The defending champion is Chris Kirk. He finished 29 under par last year to beat Sahith Theegala by 1 stroke. In 2023, John Rahm won here with a score of 27 under. Cameron Smith was 34 under par, a tournament record in 2022. In 2021, Harris English finished 25 under and won a playoff against Joaquin Niemann. And in 2020, with the wind blowing, Justin Thomas finished with a relatively high winning score of -14, beating Patrick Reed and Xander Schauffele in a playoff. For the most part, if you want to win the Sentry, you had best go low in all 4 rounds. Bo, do you have anything you want to add about the Plantation Course and what it's going to take to win here this week?
Just, I mean, give you props for such an outstanding promotion of this golf course and our very first show of the season. So yeah, that's excellent. I would just add that the field is great. They introduced this top 50 addition to the Sentry Invitation last season. And so that expanded field from usually 32 to 40 guys used to be in this field. Now there's more. It gives us more talent, more players that can go low, especially in conditions like this. And I tune in for the Sentry because it's some of the most breathtaking scenery that you're ever going to see on the PGA Tour or anywhere in the world. Next to Torrey Pines, it might be the most beautiful golf course in the world on the island of Maui. Terrible weather, 82 degrees, light breeze. It's just gorgeous. That 18th hole is perched on a cliff, which is why you get guys that just bomb it down there 420 yards straight downhill, and it bounds and it rolls forever. And then they have a 300-yard shot downhill where you could say they hit the sweeping draws, but from the behind view, you can see the Pacific Ocean as far as the eye can see. All it is ocean, and that's your approach shot coming into the clubhouse on 18. It's just breathtaking. So that's my take, is even though the golf is going to be great and it's back for 2025 and we're all juiced up to be betting on golf again, I just love the scenery. I just love looking at Hawaiian landscape where you get all these crazy hillside elevation changes, perfect lush greenery, which we don't have a lot around here because we don't get a lot of rain. But Hawaii rains all the time. It won't rain this week. I love this tournament because it's just beautiful.
Yeah, marvelous course, marvelous field, and we will get to that field in just a moment. But first, speaking of betting, Bo, download the free Betting Pros app for iOS and Android. With Sportsbook Sync, you can automatically track your bets across all major sportsbooks in one spot. Easily monitor your bet performance by sport and bet type, including game picks, props, and parlays. Create custom betting systems to find winning trends and profitable opportunities. Get a free trial of Betting Pros Premium by downloading the app and activating your trial on the upgrade screen. All right, let's get to the odds for the Sentry. All odds are courtesy of DraftKings as of Monday afternoon. Scottie Scheffler not in the field. Again, he cut his hand in a Christmas cooking mishap that left a deep puncture wound. He is expected to miss 3 to 4 weeks. So Xander Schauffele becomes the new favorites at plus 500, followed by Justin Thomas and Collin Morikawa at plus 1,000. Sungjae Im, Ludvig Åberg, and Patrick Cantlay are at plus 1,800. Viktor Hovland plus 2,000. Sam Burns, Corey Connors, and Tony Finau are plus 2,800. And Sahith Theegala and Adam Scott are plus 3,000. Bo, who do you like from among the favorites?
As far as the favorites go, I'm partial to Collin Morikawa. He's the first favorite that's given me double-digit odds. As much as I love Xander Schauffele most of the time, I don't see him as a plus 500 type of player, especially when the weather is going to be perfect. You mentioned he was close to winning back in 2019 when the wind was up. I think he's more of a grinded out type of player, where Collin Morikawa in pristine conditions can go low and has shown the ball striking ability to win just about anywhere. As long as his short game and putting are mediocre, he's going to be right there. And at 10 to 1, that's my favorite to win this among those short odds players. If you go further down, I like Viktor Hovland a lot for the same reasons I like Collin Morikawa. Ball striking is immaculate, and you don't really have to worry about a player's wedge condition early on in the season. We sometimes worry about Viktor Hovland's short game. This won't be one of those weeks. He's a guy that can go low anywhere. And then to round it out, I think Tony Finau is another player where ball striking, again, great off the tee, great on approach, and he can get a hot putter just as well as anybody. And he's at 28 to 1. That seems crazy long for a player of his caliber. Maybe coming off a kind of an off season last year. I think he's going to be back in form right off the bat.
I like how you framed the value proposition with Schauffele versus Morikawa. Like, I have no objection to Xander being the favorites, and it's certainly warranted. But like, should the odds be twice as long on Collin Morikawa? I don't think so, and I think 10 to 1 is a really good price for him. He's made 5 appearances here, Bo, and has finished no worse than 7th in any of them. This course, yeah, obviously this course suits him well. Xander has won here in 2019. runner-up in 2020, took fifth in 2021. So he also has a fine track record here, although he hasn't finished better than 10th in any of his last 3 starts at Kapalua. You mentioned Hovland. His track record is a little more spotty here. No better than 18th in 4 starts at the Sentry. And Bo, he is dealing with that fractured pinky toe. I don't know if that's going to affect him or not. I know that I don't know if I actually fractured it, but I jammed my pinky toe once, and I was not playing softball that night. It was a painful injury to deal with. So,
Well, I've broken my pinky toe on a bed frame. And I just think a pinky finger and a golf swing. I don't think it's that involved. I don't think it's not somewhere where you're walking up and down these cliffs all week, and it's going to be hard for him to walk around. It's going to be part of his grip. He might even have a little bit of tape on those fingers just to get him straightened out. But I don't think that's going to be an issue. And really, his past history for me is baked into that 20-1 odds, because as far as talent goes, he's right there with Viktor, with Collin and Xander as far as talent and upside. So to get him at 20-1, I think that's already baking in his history at Kapalua being a little bit less outstanding.
And on a course, like you said, Bo, that devalues scrambling. So if you do that and get Viktor Hovland just on ball striking, yeah, I understand the appeal. Justin Thomas seems to love Kapalua. He's won here twice in 2020 and 2017. He's finished third here twice, fifth here in 2022. Also, Justin Thomas finished top 3 in the 2 events he has played since the Tour Championship, second at the Zozo Championship in late October, third at the Hero World Challenge in early December. Ludvig Åberg's awesome, Bo. I don't want to bet him here. He was 47th here in his debut until this budding superstar shows some sort of aptitude for the plantation course. I'm just going to avoid him.
And honestly, he's here because of the top 50 exemption. I mean, we're still waiting for that Ludvig Åberg win to break through, and he very well could do it here. I just think his odds are a little short for what he hasn't done on the PGA Tour, which obviously he's showed up plenty of times where we're intrigued and on the edge of our seat. Oh, this is going to be the one for Ludvig to win, and he hasn't done it yet. But I'm with you. I'm not going to bet him here because he might be just as good of a pick on the West Coast swing when they're done with Hawaii after next week. We're going to be getting Torrey Pines and Riviera and Pebble Beach. That's when I'm going to be firing up Ludvig Åberg, because I mean the Hawaii thing is just it's such a unique little twist to what they usually play, especially Kapalua being par 73 and crazy long, crazy elevation changes. This is not the time to take a risk on a short odds player who's really hasn't shown us anything at this course.
Agreed. Now, an international star who has shown us something on this course, Sungjae Im. 4 trips here. He has finished 5th, 8th, 13th, and 5th. So I'm intrigued by him. Patrick Cantlay has shown some aptitude here, 6 appearances. He's finished somewhere between 12th and 16th, and 4 of them best finishes were a pair of 4ths. And Bo, what do you think about Sahith Theegala at 30-1 after a second place finish to Chris Kirk last year by just 1 stroke?
I mean, it was a little fluky last year. His ball striking was so pure last year at this event, and it didn't follow through the rest of the season. I think that if you get anything with Sahith, it's inconsistency on the ball striking. And so, yes, he can get hot and push for a title anywhere, but I'm going to play the percentages and just say it was kind of fluky that he showed up at Kapalua last year and almost won the thing. Chris Kirk was a worthy champion. Nobody saw Sahith Theegala coming last year at the Sentry, and he really didn't follow it up anywhere else as far as similar courses or something else that demanded similar skill sets. It was pretty fluky for me to see Sahith there, but 30-1's okay. If you like him, play him.
Yeah. All right, let's look at some of the mid-range options. We have Russell Henley, Robert McIntyre, Ben An, and Akshay Bhatia at plus 3,500. Max Grazerman plus 4,000. Maverick McNeely, Jason Day, JT Poston, and USA Ryder Cup captain Keegan Bradley are plus 4,500. And Taylor Pendrith, Siwoo Kim, Brian Harmon, and Alex Noren are plus 5,000. How about the gentleman from this group, Bo? Anyone tickle your fancy?
Actually, no, not a single one of them. I'm gonna issue this entire group mid range that should be long range. I think there's some long range options with better actual chance to win this tournament than the guys that show up in this range. I just think they're all too short for their chances to win. In my opinion, how my modeling came out, there's a couple longer shot odds wise that I think are much more suited for this golf course to win.
Not even your guy Akshay. Akshay
No.
Bhatia was a respectable 14th in his debut here last year, and he's been on pretty fine form in recent events, but cannot interest you in Akshay.
If he plays next week at
Sony?
Honolulu at the
Yeah,
Sony,
okay.
then I'll be on him. It's a different style course. He's not a bomber who really excels with long irons that you're going to see a lot of at Kapalua. And his short game, his proximity on anything besides a wedge has been off. So I think I'll skip Akshay this week, but there'll be plenty of chances for me to get my baby angel Akshay on the betting card this season.
Now, there's one guy who does kind of interest me, Ben An, fourth in
Mhm.
his debut here last year, and he won his most recent event, the Genesis Championship in Korea, a DP World Tour event. That was back in October. So comes in pretty good form and has shown that, he knows how to handle this course. So I'm intrigued by Ben An
Mhm.
at, what did I say the odds were for Ben An? Plus
50,
3,500.
35.
Yeah. I
Oh,
mean,
a little short.
if it gets to 50, I'm all over it.
Oh, for
Um,
sure. For sure.
yeah, yeah, and then two guys from this group who I think are more interesting for possibly top 5 or top 10 bets, Jason Day and JT Poston. Day's just got a pretty solid track record here, 3 top 10s in the last 10 years, and Poston, 5th here last year, and has been in pretty good form over the last 3 months, and obviously just a lights out putter. So I
Mhm.
think he's maybe worth considering for a top 5 or top 10. What about the long shots, Bo, guys, with odds of plus 5,500 or longer?
Well, I of course became a little bit known for my long shot picks here, and I had a couple winners last year, a couple winners the year before on really deep shots. So I'm going to go back to the well with two guys that I won long shot bets with last year. The first one being Nick Dunlap at 70-1. This dude's playing better than anybody on the planet right now. Like, other than Scotty Scheffler, who's playing better than Nick Dunlap at this point in time? He's still, I mean, he's just phenomenal. 70-1 on a course that rewards ball striking, rewards aggressive tee to green play. I don't see any way that Nick Dunlap doesn't compete for this win. And at 70-1, I'm all over that. I'm max betting Nick Dunlap at 70 to
Ooh,
1.
nice. Now, are the initials of this second guy by any chance JK?
Yeah, and I'm not kidding. Yeah, Mr. The Big Siesta, as he became known when he illustriously won the Mexico Open at Vedanta last year at 55-1. He's getting 170-1 odds to win this. And we're talking about a guy who hits the absolute smithereens out of the ball and is just a great tee shot and approach player. He's kind of like Victor, but unpolished, where his short game really worries you sometimes. And sometimes his putting is awful. But Jake Knapp on this kind of golf course, he's better than 170-1. I handicapped him at 80-1. And so when I saw 170, that was it. I didn't need any more convincing.
I saw those odds, Bo. I pictured you seeing those odds and looking like a cartoon wolf with the eyes popping out of. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I knew that was gonna get you
Yeah,
pretty excited. So
it just comes down to, as any smart sports bettor would do in any sport, is to handicap your own lines before you look at the official lines that you're betting and find discrepancies. And that's why I kind of am skipping the mid range, because I had those guys handicapped at 70 or 80, or in Ben On's case 50, and they came in much shorter than I expected. So I'm just not going to bet on those guys. They could very well win, but I'm just looking for those discrepancies on how I see it playing out.
are you at all tempted by Chris Kirk? I mean, 60-1 odds for the defending champ and a guy who seems to play well in Hawaii. It almost seems a little disrespectful.
Yeah, it is. It is. And Captain Kirk he's gotten us there a few times over the years, and I don't see any reason why you wouldn't bet him. There's no reason not to bet him. At 60-1, I'm more interested in his top 10 line because while I don't see him going back to back in this field, he could absolutely be there because he played outstanding last year. And so there was, for me, it's just like, that's a really nice top 10 bet, usually 5 or 6 to 1 for that range to get a top 10 out of the defending champion. That seems like a pretty decent bet.
Yeah. The only reason why I didn't like auto bet him the minute I saw him at 60 to 1, like he hasn't played all that well. He's played maybe 3 events in the last 3 months and hasn't been in great form in those. So you wish he was a little sharper coming into this, but 60 to 1.
Yeah. And you don't know, Fitz, that he isn't out there just taking he's not playing $2 Nassau's at the local club, taking everybody's lunch money.
Good point.
Playing for cocktails at the 19th hole. That Chris Kirk might be doing that all season instead of playing silly season events like some of these guys do.
What about Eric Cole? 15th here a year ago, fantastic putter, 75 to 1. Does he interest you at all?
No, he's played terribly the last calendar year, and he's just been so inconsistent ball striking wise. He's a great putter.
Yeah.
You'll never be able to take that from him, but his off the tee game has been atrocious. His approach game has been inconsistent at best. So until he starts to turn around how he's putting the ball in play, I don't think there's any reason to bet him until he starts showing signs of life.
Fair. All right. What does your betting card look like as of now, Bo?
All right. So I have outright tickets on Collin Morikawa at 10 to 1, Viktor Hovland at 20 to 1, Tony Finau at 28 to 1. I have top 5 kickers on all 3 of those guys. And then I have Nick Dunlap at 70 to 1 and Jake Knapp at 170 to 1 with top 10 and top 20 ladders on those 2 guys.
Wow. Very nice.
Yeah.
All right.
We're coming out the gate hot.
Yeah. So right now I've got outrights on Collin Morikawa 10 to 1, Sungjae Im at 18 to 1, and Ben An at 35 to 1. I've got a top 10 bet for JT Poston at plus 280. I've got a top 5 for I've got a top 5 and an outright for Jake Knapp, 170 to 1 to win, and 22 to 1 for a top 5 for Jake Knapp. And I'm going to be adding some Dunlap to the mix. I got to get Nick down. As enthusiastic as you are about Mr. Dunlap, He's have to add him good. To the card.
That kid's he's a current star, future superstar on tour. He's still pretty young too.
All right, now for the one and done competition. So last year, Bo was pretty much clobbering me all year, but I saved Scotty Scheffler for the FedEx Cup Championship. He won me some sort of generational money there, 30 million, whatever it was. And I went flying past Bo, but it was kind of a hollow victory. So I suggested to Bo that we cut out the FedEx Cup playoffs this year, so no one gets an unfair advantage when the fields are small and the winner checks are enormous. So, Bo, you get to lead us off this year. Who is your one and done pick at the Sentry?
I'm going to go with Tony Finau.
Tony Finau. All right. I am not betting this guy, but I like him for a one and done here because of his track record and because I don't know where else to use him. I'm going to use Justin Thomas here.
JT.
Come on out with JT. And that is going to do it for this, the first episode of the Betting Pros PGA Podcast for 2025, even though we're still recording this in 2024. But we will be back next week in 2025 for a preview of the Sony Open, second event of the Hawaiian Swing. Until then, so long, everyone.